It's going. And we are live. Well, we're not live, but we is recording.
We's recording.
And we took a bit of a break, y'all. It was like 3 weeks.
Yes.
Everything fell apart. And then we got sick. But here we are.
Hi.
The prison ladies, where we discussed it all. Oh, I had a call. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Somebody try to call. Okay. So welcome back to, is this 4?
4.
Okay, episode 4 of the Prison Ladies, where today we are discussing, go ahead, with taboo. We got some tea, kind of. Is it tea?
The good, bad, and Danielle scared shitless.
Right. It's the ugly. I mean, this is a taboo topic.
It is.
But it is so consistent in the community. And what we're talking about is, go ahead with the acronyms.
MBI versus MWI debate.
And for those that you don't know, that's met while incarcerated or met before incarcerated. The debate that happens here that we're seeing is a lot of people who met their loved ones prior to their prison sentence. Not all, okay? We're just talking about a good sized group, but obviously not all, who feel that their relationship is more solid and going to be more everlasting because they knew them before they went to prison. Go ahead, Danielle. I'm going to let you take the floor. Here's the microphone. Go ahead.
You're going to have to kind of work with me here, okay? Work with me, people.
Yeah.
So let's go back to when BSA first came about. Started coming rolling. I think that was last July. And I'm going to throw out some numbers. They're rough, so don't come at me. Don't come at me that they're not exact. I want to hear in the comments, girl, that's not what they said. Just yeah.
Right.
Rough. Okay. When they first came out, they were trying to figure out, we were all trying to figure out the slots and how much slots would be for CDCR. And some of the rough numbers that were thrown out were that about 12,000 families are trying to book visits, but there would only be 2,000 slots. Okay, so those are vague numbers. Now, let's talk about how many guys, and I hate that we don't do enough focus on the women's prisons, but we just don't know enough.
Right.
Yet. So in total for CDCR, we'll call it a rough 100K.
Right.
So even if that 12,000 figure of people that were attempting to get visits, let's say they all could, that still leaves 88,000 not getting a visit. And that's just visiting. Not talking even phone calls, even letters. Where I'm going with this is what's important is when a woman, a supporter, a girlfriend, a mom, I don't care if you're an alien at this point, is supporting and loving somebody incarcerated. That's what we want. That is the best part of it, because if you think about those 88,000, people are not coming to see them.
Yep.
When you're sitting in the visit room, it's the same people generally that you're seeing. And I know that there are other factors that come into the visit part of this. Finances, distance, all of that. So you can give some variable and play there. But for the most part, you're talking about 80,000 guys that loved ones are not.
Yeah.
So the point I make with this is, why do we care? Why do we care if you met before the incarceration or after?
And I really would love them. I would love to get somebody who has that mindset, that is one of the people that is saying that, it's not relevant or is real, because, their argument that I've seen when I've seen these discussions is like, well, you don't know them. And, you have a point. When you meet anybody new, you don't know them. No matter where you've met them, how you've met them, that is a process. But to sit there and say, okay, so you meet someone while they're incarcerated and you're getting to know them to somehow believe, well, I mean, I don't know if they're factoring years, which, I mean, yeah, anybody can have years over anybody, but again, that's anywhere you met them out here or not. So it's just like, where is this even coming from, that you're going to dictate someone's heart, someone's intentions or motives strictly based on the environment or setting or date that you met them? To me, just seems completely ridiculous, honestly. Because so what did they say to people who met people out here and it didn't work out, or they were, like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand if it's just, there's this competition in our community.
Yes.
For what's real and what's not, what's legit, what's not. Like you said earlier, how you were going to make that comparison, that we'll get into, but it's just, why are we competing in our community when we're going to the same place, fighting the same battles? It blows my mind for another reason for women to tear other women down, and it's disgusting to me.
What we see when a loved one inside has, I don't want to just limit this to relationships, but that's what this MBI and MWI
this is pretty much relationship based.
It is.
Right now.
But what we see for the guys inside, when they have somebody loving them, supporting them, picking up that phone, writing those letters, and if possible, making those visits, the amount that does for the guys inside when they're dealing with hell, jungle, shit we would not even be able to process seeing constantly. No. Why do you care?
Exactly.
But don't you want that? Our biggest fight is against the free world, not against each other. Right. The free world doesn't get why we do this. The free world doesn't understand things where, that we're all damaged in some way and blah, blah, blah. We got enough to deal with, free world coming at us, not at each other.
Right.
And that's constant. No, go ahead.
No, I was saying that's constant. Like you said, like we have enough people who just think when you're with someone in prison, period, and that goes for those of you that knew them before prison, you have people looking at you like, well, why are you sticking it out? Look, he was with you. He didn't care. He did what he did. And now he ended up in there. So, you already know what that feels like for women who have held their man down, knowing him prior, whether he's been in multiple times or one long sentence, and you already know how ridiculous that is because you know why you're doing it. So to sit there and turn around and literally go at it with other women, to be like, well, you don't even know them. And it's like,
you bring a good point. I gotta be careful how I say this. But the women that are met before may get even more of a hit because, okay, he did what he did. He's inside and and you're still. Right. So they almost are hit a bit harder.
Right, where people can come at them and say
on them. Well, what are you going to do different down the line so that he doesn't? That all kind of ends up on them.
Right. If he already did this to you one time, what's your fact that he won't do it again? And what it comes down to again is we all have this beautiful thing called freedom and personal choice to live your life. And whether people agree with you or not, or any of that, luckily you don't have to listen to anybody. We love who we love and how we love, no matter where that is.
Yes.
But it's just really sad in this community when people find the most ridiculous reasons to separate us, rather it be what kind of yard they're on, or like you were saying, marriage, or how they met. And it's like, we're doing this to ourselves. This is all on us. This is nobody else's influence. This isn't prison influence, the system influence, or outside influence. This is the hate that is built in our community for literally no reason, because there's no validity in any of it when it comes to saying how solid your relationship is, depending on if you knew them prior or not.
I find that the same arguments that we have with free world people, they say, I hate the saying, you do the crime, you do the time, blah, blah, blah. They shouldn't even get family visits. I find some of the same arguments I have with those people of, so you don't think somebody incarcerated deserves love? 90% of those people actually say, okay, yeah, they do.
Right.
Okay, well, we're the ones doing the loving then. So I find some of the same arguments that we have with the free world people we're having with each other, just on a different spectrum. And I'm thinking, the comparison I was going to is, it's, to me, this argument is like the step brother, step cousin to the DP, domestic partnership versus marriage argument. It's the same combative, competitive.
Yeah.
Which makes me crazy, because who cares? Do you love him? Does he love you?
Yep.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying. So I don't know where the anger comes from. Like, I totally have respect for someone who has known their dude for X amount of years outside, had that life with them. And I can only imagine the pain of having a life with them in the free world and then them getting locked up. And so you're missing.
It's deeper.
It can be deeper. Way deeper. Like there's no, like you are used to, especially then if you have like your kids, or even if you don't, but you're used to having them next to you. You're sharing a life, sharing responsibilities, all of these things. And now they're taking away that loss. We, as me, like me, because I met mine while incarcerated, I don't know a life out here with him. I only know the prison world. So I can't even imagine the pain of what someone they go through. It is completely different. And I can only imagine, because I know the pain I have of him not being home, but I can't imagine understand fully the pain of he was once here. So there's definitely a respect for that, and for sticking it out and staying by their side when you have all those people like, oh, look, he went to, there's total respect in that. And yes, you have a longer history in a different way, and I can respect that as well. But it doesn't mean that your relationship is better or more solidified or valid than mine. It just means your history and your story reads a little different. You know what I mean?
I think part of the pain gets communicated sometimes from those women, maybe not constructively sometimes. And we as MWI, and I would say a lot of us MWI, we do recognize that.
Yeah.
We know that life you had and now is this. That has got to be a different type of pain, like you just said, that we could not even fathom. We have respect for that completely.
Yes.
So I think sometimes some of those arguments that are happening with the MBI, MWI, it comes from that pain, that missing, that element, like you guys can't possibly imagine. You guys can't understand. He was sleeping with me this morning. We were on our way to go have breakfast. Any of those things, you guys. Yeah. So I think a lot of that comes from pain, but the communication that happens towards us MWI sometimes comes sideways. It goes left. And
and it does. And it's downright mean. Yeah. And I've seen it. I mean, where some women really go in and are just like, and it's horrible. And so it's like, how we've got to do better within our community. It's not having a respect of that life. I mean, shoot, especially if you were with him, you went through court, going to court, hearing the sentence that they got, going through all of that is completely heartbreaking. And I've seen women say that, like, my man just got sentenced. I don't know what I'm going to do, because you relied on them for that support financially, mentally, and just having them physically, and then having them ripped away. So it's not that we don't respect or see that, and see that there is a difference in that way. 100%. But again, it went from just saying like, hey guys, like, yeah, that is, you struggle with being with someone in prison, but man, it's even a lot harder when you had them. But instead it then goes over to, and because you don't know them,
takes a leap.
You only met them in prison. You're not valid. Same with the damn domestic partnership. I've had women literally say to me, oh, I want a real marriage. And I'm like, so you're telling me because you stepped inside the visiting room and had a paid notary, and officiant have you sign something, that your signature or your ceremony is more impactful or more meaningful than the love that me and my husband have. Like,
That's why I
we did it
said
because of COVID. Like,
it's
but
the
even if
cousin
we
to
didn't,
that.
yeah, but even if we didn't have COVID and we wanted to do it that way, it's prison. Okay, you're not going into church.
No.
You're not having all your friends and family. You don't even have a reception after you kick it out of the same vending machine you went to the weekend before.
Yes.
And domestic partnership is just federally not recognized, which means you don't file your taxes together, which you don't do anyway when they're in prison. You know, like, it trips me out how people think that is not legitimate, and it's like, no, it's 100% legitimate, you know. But I wish I could find the root of why these, you know, or
I
even
go back to the original part of it is, why do we care?
right.
Why? We see how many guys, and we know just with our loved ones, because our loved ones tell us, oh, you know, my homie, he doesn't get those visits. He doesn't know about that. Oh, I got my homie's call. He let me have it because, you know, he doesn't get calls. He has nobody to call. That's a gut punch to me.
Yeah.
To hear those things, it's a gut punch. And when I just think, maybe I'm too much a numbers person, when I think of those numbers, I think, okay, you got roughly 80,000 of guys. Why do we go back to this? Why do we care?
Right.
Isn't the most important thing is that's one, you know, with an MWI and an MBI, those are two less guys right there that are on their own.
Well, yeah, and here's another thing, like, straight out, like, I am so sorry, but between making sure you don't miss their call, scheduling visits, work life out here, packages, money on books, geez, all of this, like, how does anyone even have the time to even care about anybody else's anything? I mean, you can take note of something. I've taken note of things like, oh, that girl's here seeing two different dudes. I take a note, but I move on. It's nothing that I need to sit and dwell on, let alone make a post about, let alone come at anybody about. Like, I don't care. I'm trying to go in to see my husband.
Yes.
Why are we so worried about everything of, well, what kind of marriage did you get? DP or married? And oh, is it MDI? And what yard is he on? And is he, like, why? Seriously, if you are not busy enough in your life with your husband in prison, then maybe you're not doing enough, because god dang, it takes up all my time, and I want it to, because I have my husband and my life.
It's funny, this morning we both had video visits, right? And this morning mine and I are talking about my schedule, and he's like, well, what are you doing today? I have a video visit with you, then Renee and I are going to film, and then later I got to do some of our, you know, surprise package stuff I'm sending you, like stationary things and cards, and our anniversary's coming. And then I got to study, and I'm going through the mental checklist with him. And get to the end of it. I said, so that's my day. I said, yeah. You know, he goes, that's a lot. Do you realize that's a lot? He said, and a lot of that has to do with you and me or this life. And I went, uh-huh. And to speak to that point is, how do you have time to care about what someone else's relationship is or is not? Because it ain't yours. So who cares?
It's okay to have your opinion, and it's okay to notice things around you, but when you care to the point that it actually gets you angry, that you're actually like causing a divide, and now to where we got a freaking acronym. We shouldn't even have an acronym. Why does that even matter? Why do we even have MWI and like, why is that even a thing? Like, who even came up with that to begin with? Explain to me what that matters. Like, where did that even start from? I'd like to talk to her. I want to talk to the girl that decided to come up with an acronym for met while incarcerated and met before. Already you're trying to have sides.
I think, and we're touching on the same points, but it goes back to this community, boy, could we be a force if we were all more connected, if we were all more about the community, fought more for each other, cared less about that kind of BS, this community could really be a force. And in a lot of the things that CDCR is doing, it's needed. It's 100% needed. And it just, when we tear at each other and second guess somebody else's relationship, why focus on yours? Because there will be a day that comes in any relationship where it's rainy, and it isn't going to matter if you met them beforehand or you met them during. You're still going to hit a shit moment.
Thank you. Like, how is your struggles different? I mean, the only thing different is like, maybe you could bring up a memory prior to, but you're literally going through the same struggles. Because from my understanding, and I could be wrong, but I don't think met before incarcerated get longer phone time. I don't think met before incarcerated get longer visits. I don't think they get a discount on packages. I think that we pretty much are all in the exact same boat. I think all rules apply to everybody, right? So where is the difference in this journey? Because if there is something different, well, then we need to know about it. And then maybe you can have your reign of OGs or whatever you want to call it. But from my understanding, the women I know who met their dude prior, they're asking me the same as I'm asking them is, did you get any calls out of this yard? Is yours on lockdown? Mine's on lockdown. You know, so I don't see any difference in this life at all.
But I don't want to pick on the MBI too much. MWI, they sometimes have a tendency to get their own dig in. There are some women that will go back to that MBI person and say, well, had he been with me, he wouldn't have done any of that. No.
Girl, yes.
No. No. No,
right.
Let's not go there. Let's not do that, because you don't know that. You do not know that. One person cannot be the sole reason for a judgment call of somebody else's. It just doesn't work that way.
I absolutely
so our MWI women can go in on an MBI, and they do. And I see that.
I don't think if I had met my husband prior that he wouldn't be there. I think he would absolutely be there. We obviously, I know for a fact there is no way him and I would even be together had I met him prior, because of where we were in our lives that many years ago. You know, our tempers, our broke, all of that, the way I was. No, you know, we met when we were supposed to meet 100%.
I love that.
We came in each other's lives when we were, it was absolutely meant to be, and it wouldn't have worked prior. So then you figure, like, the ones that met prior, like, y'all were supposed to meet at that time.
Yeah.
You were supposed to be in his life at that time.
I love this point you're making. I love it.
But it's true.
You need people where they're at and when you're supposed to.
When even your friends, you know, like they come in these times that it's just like, that's when the bond was going to be created. This is how it was going to be created. And it's a beautiful thing. So the journey itself, when you look at just your life and who's come in and who's left and why, and seasons and those that stayed, you're like, wow, like they all came in. It was supposed to be that way.
Yes.
So instead we should just respect the fact that the ones, because I know a lot of women, like, they knew their dude when they were kids. And some of them then got reconnected later, but they were supposed to meet when they were kids so that they would find each other later. Because they were supposed to be together. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you met your dude prior, you were absolutely supposed to, because there wasn't supposed to be an MWI that came in the picture. You were supposed to be in the picture, but you had to meet him first. So then that journey later, you would find him.
Yep.
And then us, that, you know, how we come across meeting ours, that's when it was supposed to be.
Supposed to happen.
Yeah. So why can't we just, like, love that for each other? Love when you find the teenage stories, or the woman that's held it down when he was on the outside and on the end, and have mad respect for that. And why can't we respect the women who came in this journey only knowing prison and all that goes with it, but still seeing that he was worth every bit of it and learning all of this? Why can't we just, like, love that for each other instead of dividing? This is so stupid.
It is.
I just think it's stupid, and I feel bad for anybody on either side that catches anything. Because we just cannot be tearing each other down for things that are so out of our control, because you cannot control when you meet someone or where you're going to meet them.
I 100%. I was supposed to, I know now, we both do, know now, I was supposed to meet mine the way it happened, how it happened, and when it happened.
Absolutely.
1,000%.
Mm-hmm.
1,000%. And we sometimes you hear this, it all makes sense now.
Yeah, exactly.
Past stuff, it all just kind of, And I think in this journey, either side of the coin, no matter where you get to or what, you're going through a path and a journey with your loved one and getting to different places, because that's the way it's supposed to happen. Mm-hmm. Either way, it's supposed to happen that way. It just is. And the same thing, he and I would not, we would not, no, we would not have been together when he was outside.
No.
No. Well, he blames that on me, but he says, you wouldn't have given me the time of day. It's like, sir, but it wouldn't have happened. Number one, we lived demographically two totally different areas, but just a lot of differences. It wouldn't happen. So it happened the way it was supposed to.
Yeah, and people just need to respect that journey. I think if anyone looks at their lives, like I realized even things that I went through in my life that were very traumatic and stuff, but I realized things that were strengthening me, or whatever it may be, that I became the woman that I am, and that it was preparing me literally for this exact journey. And had I not been through those things, even things that I wish I never went through, but looking back, I tell my husband, I would go through it all again if it led me to you, because now I see, like you said, now I see, were they horrible things, all of course, but it led me to him, and I would not trade that. Even when I sit, like, oh my gosh, I hate sitting and thinking if one little thing went different in how we met, and that it might have made me miss meeting him. The thought of that honestly kills me.
You're my husband, because I've said it to him over and over, God, if only I had met you. And he's like, no, stop. No, because it wouldn't happen then. Yeah. And he said, no, don't say that. We met when we were supposed to. And I'm like, yeah, but then I could have avoided this or that. And he's like, then you would have avoided me. Yeah. Because it still wouldn't have fit. It still wouldn't have worked. We met when we did, how we did, because it was supposed to. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, but then I would have had to go through all this shit. Would have just, right. But he's right. You're him. He of course, you get his thinking.
But you know what? There's this stigma on us for those that met them inside, and then there's a stigma like, well, how did you meet them? Some women feel like, oh, if you met them on a site, then that means something bad, or what I mean. I met mine through a friend, but either way, society looks at us crazy as is. But you think about here, when online dating started like years ago, and someone's like, oh, I met them online, everyone gasped, even myself. Way back then, because I'm like, wait, what? Because that was so very new and just seemed so unconventional. And now I don't even know the last time I talked to someone who met someone that it wasn't online. Yeah. And whether it was a dating site or Facebook, any kind of social media. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so you look at how that stigma was, and I know I actually know people who met online and have been together for years. Yeah. So, they're, again, your relationship can absolutely survive prison, grow in prison, and be just as real as anybody out here. Your odds are the same, because what it comes down to is, who are you with? Who is the person that you're with? The relationship that you're in? Because trust and believe, a good man on the inside is going to be a good man when he comes home.
Yeah, there's no statistic that says, if you were met before incarcerated, your relationship's going to last longer and be more successful. Right. No such thing. Okay.
No.
that isn't a thing.
And vice versa. It doesn't mean like, well, because you met in like, it doesn't mean, you know, any of that. It's the simple fact that it is who you're with, and that goes for both worlds, out there, out here,
Yes.
and in there, you know. So that's
Yes.
what we need to focus on instead, is like, hey sister, hey friend, like, just, are you okay? Are you good? How is
Mhm.
your relationship? Or if you want to talk on it, talk on how you can be there for them. And if
Mhm.
you have advice, give it by all means. You
Because
know what I
there's one
mean?
thing, there's never going to be another woman that understands you like another prison wife. And I know
Yeah,
that's a
exactly.
meme, that's a gift, that's a reel, that's a TikTok, but it's also the damn truth.
It is.
Because these women out here are the ones giving us the side of like,
Yeah.
oh, why are you doing this to begin with? They're not going to get it. So don't.
And even your friends might think that they're, you know, you'll have your supportive friends, but for them, they might look at it like, because they care, they do care. I mean, you have people that care for you that aren't in this world, but they may be worried too, because you say the word prison, nothing positive comes to mind at all.
Nope.
Nothing. There's never a time that someone says prison and they're like, oh, that's great. Like, woohoo. Like, no, everything negative. And you're thinking of every negative serial killer to get, I mean, you just think the worst of the worst. So I'm sure that, you know, for our outside friends, they're going to be supportive, but they are definitely like, you've lost your mind, which
Oh,
I
yeah.
get.
Let me go ahead and explain that I just had the best visit yesterday at prison. We had so much fun and it was great. My outside
Right?
friends are
That
going to go,
15-minute call was live, girl.
okay,
And they're like, okay. Or, oh my
okay.
God, he just got out of lockdown. It's been 2 months. I can go see him. He just got out the hole. He was only in one riot, but he didn't get written up. Like, even if I were to say that, they would be like, what are you talking
What?
about? The whole, the riot, the lockdown, like what? Well, no, Metal's missing, girl. Like, he didn't do nothing. It's just, you know, somebody's trying to obviously off someone, but it wasn't my man, but he's just on that block. Or, you know, they're gonna look at you, but you tell it to a prison wife, and they're like, and
Oh,
there's
girl,
no
yes.
explanation. They're like, oh, girl, mine just got off a lockdown, but I think the COs took the medal. You know, I'm like, yeah, girl, because they be full of, like, you know, like, there's
Or,
no,
oh, girl, we just got out of the hole. Don't worry. Or, girl, we just got in. I can tell you know, make sure you
yeah,
do this. Or you're only going to get.
we
It's
got visits
just
back. It's behind glass.
normal.
We only get an hour. You know, and shout out real quick to those women. Like, you know, again, one of my best friends doing that for 5 years, holding it down for her husband, 5 years behind glass. Another lady, when I just went to visit, it was her first in-person visit for after 3 years of behind glass. She was so nervous, you know, but those women too behind the glass, you know, and people will sit there with that and be like, well, you only get an hour. Again, people don't understand the intimate conversations that you have with somebody, even for a direct hour with no interruptions, that you really don't get here on the outside. You got strangers living in your house that you call husbands. You know what I mean? You got freaking roommates in your house that you call a boyfriend, because there's no communication. And
Yes.
we thrive only on that, because it literally is all we have. So
Yeah.
for me, I personally feel, maybe I'm biased because my husband's in prison, but I've been in relationships out here, so I feel I can speak on it honestly. You have more of a connection with somebody in
Yes.
prison, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all of
Yep.
those things, than you, I'm gonna say at least 70% out here would have with somebody. You know what I
Yep.
mean? But again, someone out here isn't gonna understand that. They're not. They're gonna just be like, they're not going to get that. So being that we
No.
have this outside world, it is even more so that we need to pull together, more so that we need to be encouraging and uplifting, and stop thinking one group is better than another. Stop the divide.
I'm tired
Stop,
of that.
yeah, and
That's
stop
another
trying to
reason why
be the
we did this
OG.
episode, because it's like, okay, enough.
Yeah.
Enough.
I don't like that. And you get the women that politic, you get the women that think that I'm better and you're better. And it's like, you prove to me.
Oh, that's going to be a whole nother good
Because yeah,
episode.
because I mean, you have your
I'm
opinion, but
ready.
you have no receipts to back up that
Mhm.
yours is better than mine, or your marriage is better than mine, or your relationship, damn sure your man ain't better than mine. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm just going to keep going back to what I say is think about the guys that have nobody.
nobody.
No. Okay,
I mean, look
holidays
at
are
the
coming. Let's
holidays
talk
are
about
coming
that.
up. The holidays are coming up.
Exactly where I was going.
Our
Yep.
suicide rates out here in the free world during holidays is huge, because
Yes.
this is sometimes the most depressing season of the whole year for thousands upon thousands of people.
Mm-hmm.
Now we go to the inside, and we have Thanksgiving coming up, and they are aware of the holidays because the prison even makes a big deal out of the holidays. They will have a Thanksgiving dinner. They will maybe even put a nice backdrop for your pictures or do a craft or something that is
We had
Thanksgiving
yesterday.
related,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So all those men, and pretty much we know we don't talk on the women's prison, but they're a dull roar of zero. Okay, their mamas is only going, like, that's it. That's just the truth. So they got nobody. But for these men, they know they're not getting a visit. You know what I mean? And some of these men have family that do talk to them, but still don't come on holidays. So this time is so hard for them. So it's like you said, the numbers, like all these dudes that are, their doors are not going to click on Thanksgiving. They're not going to click for Christmas, New Year's Day. They're not going to open. They're going to be stuck. And then you have the very small select few that they have the riders, which is us. So can't no other no other female tell me that I have less than or she's more than me in any walk of this life. Because if you're riding for your dude and you're showing up and I'm showing up, how are we not on the same page? Because we know the importance of the men we love.
Notwithstanding, we're going to take out the women that distance-wise can't. There's some of our community that are out of state, out of country, even distance and finances. We get you.
But we always
but I'm sure they're doing
that,
the video. They're doing videos.
We know they're always they're always over here. Like the ones that medically, financially, distance-wise, we already know that's a 100% reason. But
medically, yes, medically,
take them out of the group, and now we just have what's left. This is what you have left. You have, you know what I mean? And not every wife or girlfriend that shows up to visit is a good wife or girlfriend. That's a whole nother show. You know what I mean? It doesn't. Like, we know that, just like every dude that walks out to visit ain't a good dude. Like, we know. But if we are going to talk about the ones that you truly love your dude, you hold it down faithfully, loyal, like, period, like not going anywhere. That group of women should never be going at it about anything, ever.
Like I said, I think if this community could just bond together more and stop pushing back, because there's, we'll get into that at some point. Politics that do that enough. The free world that does that enough.
Yeah.
Even the sentences sometimes do that enough. And enough. You know what I mean? I guess, like I said, if we could all somehow, some way make each other and the journey more important together, I know we could get so much more accomplished.
And it's just getting these other women.
CDCR wants this, by the way. CDCR loves this. CDCR wants this. They love this division.
They need the constant divide.
They love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's the problem is, we said we was spilling the tea and we'll have other conversations, but it's real simple. There should be, again, this is talking about the group of women that are solid. And it doesn't mean you have to go to visit to be solid, because if you have your man's back you have their back. Yeah. Okay. But you know if you're solid or not. Anyone watching this, if you're a solid one or not, period. And if you're not. But there should be no divide. There is no business for politicking up in our community for the women. That's out. And there should be no deciding who's legit and who's not. Like, that's it. Like, that's just none of that. And for anyone trying to come around and pump their chest out, politicking or talking about marriages and what's real or not, and who, like, any of that, like, me, you're just, you are toxic. You are a poison in our community, and you're hurting people and dividing and clicking and clicks and all that. Like, this is stupid. This is not high school. We are grown ass individuals fighting a
Yes.
real systematical problem with our loved ones. They are in
Yep.
hell, something that should not even exist in our country. And how about we start looking at the bigger picture instead of literally picking and pointing at each other when we're on this journey together?
We could
Just
fight for them so much harder and heavier, and actually be maybe making some more waves and doing some things if we were all doing it together and not caring
and not
about
only
all
that, just having the support to get through it.
Yes.
Because there are times that this is beyond heartbreaking every day. You know, for those women who just got their visits taken, or now they have to go behind glass, like, let's rally around them. Or the woman whose husband or dude went in the hole and she's not going to see him. Let's rally around her. You know, let's rally around each other.
I won't speak on who it is, but this week in one of my groups, I had a wife whose husband went man down, and he's sick.
Damn.
So those, you know, and those things, the example you just gave, the woman whose husband just went to the hole, he's about to do a good long shoe term. There's a lot of support that's needing to be had.
Yes.
A lot of support. And we're not doing it if we're tearing each other apart or giving a shit about how we got married or how we met.
Right, exactly.
That's
and then telling that woman who's dealing with that loss of, for one, your heart breaks for what your dude is about to go through. But then what, are you going to look at her and be like, well, you know what, your pain isn't real because you met him while he was incarcerated and you have a domestic partnership? Really? Like, that's what we're really saying, is that your love, your feelings, your fight, your loyalty, all of this means nothing because of how you met them or how you went about getting married to them. Like, do you understand the pettiness behind that? It's sad. You know, we have to just be accountable and we have to be grown. And this isn't a position of you know, the only Hunger Games that you always call it, that should be our only Hunger Games, is dealing with getting a visit, not each other. You know, and that should be our struggle.
I have to explain that more because I have more, you know, new wives that come into the groups, and I had a wife ask me this week, what? Why is it Hunger Games? What do I need to be prepared for something?
Girl, it's that deep. It's that serious. It's that serious.
I didn't start that term. I've just continued it.
Right.
I explained it to her, and I said, trust. Once you start booking this week, then you're going to know exactly what we're talking about. Sure enough, through the process, and she went, oh my God, that's terrible. I said, there you go. There it is.
Yeah. It is, you know, like, I think for me, I may get flack for this, but that's okay. I'm so used to that. For me, my only issue in our community, the only thing that I do have a strong opinion on and will voice it amongst and this is only relationships and girlfriend or wife, are the women that are lying to them, cheating on them. Like, if you're not, because that reflects on all of us. Okay, so if I got an issue in this community, it is only the ones that are frauds, cheaters, you know, hoppers just to do, like, I don't like that.
Trend girls.
Yeah, like, that's my only issue, is only because, like, I wouldn't think it would be right if it was done to you. And I don't think it's right if you're doing it to them. And again, for the solid ones in there, and they see it in there and they think like, well, this girl always came to visit, this and that, only to find out X, Y, and Z. That's my issue in our community. But that's because you're hurting somebody. And I'm not for that. I'm not for that. I don't justify it. I don't give a crap. I don't justify cheating in any sense. I don't care. It's not right. So that would be my only positive, you know, issue that I think that I would speak on enough to really be like, you're wrong and that's wrong. You know what I mean?
The flip side of that coin, and we're going to do an episode about this, which is the bad seeds, which is the not loyal women and the not loyal men, because we hear about the flip side of it all the time.
And that makes me sick too. It
Yes.
does. But when we're speaking in our community, we've all seen it. And so for that, I can understand, because you're actually like hurting somebody. You're
Yes.
actually doing something that is detrimental to not only the person that you're hurting, but everyone around them who cares the same as it would be out here. Right?
Mhm.
You have your friend who you find out he was doing her dirty. It's going to hurt all of you, and it's going to
Yep.
mess with all of your heads. Like, is that happening to me? Is he doing that to me? Is he going to do that to me? So again, when you ratchets are doing that to them, it affects everybody around them, because now we have to work twice as hard to prove, like, look, I know she wrote all the time. I know she was giving back. I know she was doing what I was doing, but yet she was doing him too and him too and him. But I'm not. You should just X yourself all the way out and just leave, because we have to work even harder, just like our men do, for when the dudes in there do dirt, to prove to us. It goes both ways, but that is very serious and very deep rooted, and it's just, it pisses me off.
Here's the thing
Clearly.
about this community is it is big, but it's really not. It's
Nope,
not.
it's not.
It's just about thinking again. Here I go with numbers, right? Ooh, I'm OCD.
That's so
When
good.
it's not. When you think about the amount of guys in there, and you think about, that's a lot. But again, take away for the ones that aren't getting the support, the letters, the visits, the phone calls.
Yeah.
So the ones that are is just that small percentage. That community, even still on a small percentage, seems big, but it's not.
It's not. And these men are
Very
human.
small.
Like, you put man in prison and the man goes away. The human part of that is almost X'd out, as if like you can kind of treat them or think of them any way you want. Our society does that, and obviously these cheating women do too. Is just like, they are completely human. They are going through things we, like you said in the beginning, we cannot even fathom going through. And so when you do that to them, when you do that, what you're doing, the amount of damage, dude, is so deep. That's why I cannot respect it. I can't respect it. I can't justify it. I won't, because it's real simple. You walk away, you know what I mean? But aside from that, again, it's just coming down to any of you women who met while incarcerated, do not let anyone make you feel less than. Do not make anyone allow you to feel that your relationship is not as solid or as loving or as successful or as real as anybody else. And then for anyone who held it down out here in these streets, rocking it with him, rather it's outside people telling you not to, or you have women in here telling you what you had said earlier, like, oh, well, if he was whatever, don't let no one knock your whole freaking journey, dude. Like, just don't let it happen.
We have mad respect for those women that, to me, and probably my MWIs are not going to like me saying it, but it is a deeper pain. It is on a deeper level. And
completely
mad respect for them.
Yeah, because you solid in the streets and out here and here.
I want to see us more connected. Oh, we went way off topic as usual.
That's all right. Sometimes when you sip tea, girl, you just go left, and we just go left, but that's okay. But you know what? It's okay. And
it's been a few weeks, so they have to allow us to kind of get it out.
Right. We're trying to get back in our group because things happen. But and if you see someone bullying somebody, stand up, say something. If we hold more people accountable. Hold people accountable. Don't sit back in these groups and you see that and don't pick sides. There's no sides. There's no sides. Your relationship, all you need to worry about is you and yours, and be there for someone who needs you. That's it. It's so simple. We're all grown here. Like, come on. And that's it. I think. And next week, I don't even know the topic.
I know, that's exactly where I was going. You want to talk off camera about that one, or
sometimes we try to be like, we try to have tact in things that we say because our conversations probably is a little different, but
a little.
scotch.
We could.
But no,
okay,
we'll
do
come
this.
What?
Let's ask the viewers. What do they want to see us talk about next?
Yeah, all 5 of y'all. What do you want to see?
Mm-hmm.
Because at this point, they probably think we like fell off. They thought we fell off.
No.
Oh my gosh! And I hope y'all scheduled your Thanksgiving visits. I think you have till Monday, right?
Now, not all prisons are doing emailing.
Email?
There are a couple of prisons that are choosing and opting and doing DSA. So make sure you check your facility status page, and hopefully it's updated. If it's not, get with your IFC or facility group and find out.
Real quick.
Not every prison's doing email, but I hope the ones that are, you guys sent them.
I know, and that you get them. We got to do some holiday-ish backgrounds. Like, we're both on our phones right now, and for some reason it won't let us choose a.
It would be good if I could just get a background just to stick.
I'll just draw a picture.
Couple.
Oh my gosh! Comment if there's something you want to talk about. Again, comment if you want to be on as a guest. We tape on Sundays usually, so if you have free time on Sunday and you want to talk about something, it could be anything, or you just have questions, like whatever it is. That's really what this is about, is y'all and our community, and just a safe place, for whatever. So we'll just see how this one goes. If anyone even watches this one, then
they will watch. I had several people asking me where we were. I'm like, we're coming. Hold on.
We was out of commission for a minute, but we is back.
We back.
But we love you guys. Huh? No, because I'm on my phone.
Oh, hell.
We can sing it. La, la, la,
no,
la.
I can do it.
La,
I can do it.
La, 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 la. It's a love thing. Did you get it?
No. You said you were gonna we were just gonna sing it. Oh Lord, hold on.
Well, I was already singing.
What's the song?
La 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 by LMFAO. See, this is why we need a sound crew and a housekeeper and a butler and a chef.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Well, could you imagine?
Here's the thing. What they get with us.
I love this song. I don't know why. It's underrated.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
We love you. We will see you next week. We will figure out a topic, or you can help us out. So stay safe. Good luck on visits. Write your man. He needs those letters. And that's it.
Stay solid.
Mwah.